Hello, everyone. This is Kelly Beard of KarmicTools.com, and this is a special invitation to my Venus Circle next Tuesday, June 8th at 9 p.m. Eastern, which is 8 p.m. Chicago time, 7 p.m. Mountain, and 6 p.m. Pacific. Sista Shamon asked me to share this with the whole community as it resonated so deeply with a lot of the soul work that she has been doing for herself and facilitating for others. Each month in the Venus Circle, we are guided by a sign and a chakra as the theme. This month is Cancer and the third eye chakra. Basically, whether you were with us or not, about 9 months ago, we all did some release work around personal insecurities and unhealed wounds, often from childhood, just so that we could be here now, reclaiming a more imaginative narrative that feeds, nourishes, and protects us on every level. Deep breath. So I ask you to make a conscious connection between your third eye chakra and your creative center, your sacral chakra, the sixth and the second. What you're able to reclaim from your imagination through your third eye is what you will move forward to nurture and develop into form through your second chakra, the creative center, right? They're connected. Now, invite your higher self's guidance to help you decide what you want to seed this month. Okay, they're getting together technically on the 12th of June, which is so in our zone of new moon solar eclipse. There's a lot of energy there, y'all, that we can work with to redirect our lives in better ways. The affirmation for the month is I can reclaim a new vision of family and kinship because I released ego, inauthenticity, and lack of heart in my creative process. Deep breath. So one of the things that is special about this Venus cycle is the unique theme. Every cycle I choose different guides to support our monthly soul work. And this cycle I chose archetypes and stories. This month our archetype is the goddess. And our story is called Maidens of the Wells. And the version I share is from my friend and colleague Kathy Pagano's book, Wisdom's Daughters, How Women Can Change the World. So that is what I want to share with you first, the theme, and then I offer the story, which is 19 minutes, for you to meditate on this month. May it validate your soul work too. This month we activate our imaginations and unique consciousness to dream up or expand on what we are bringing into form by December of this year, which is 2021. If you don't know what you're cultivating, then this month asks you to engage your imagination and don't censor yourself in any way. Just see what comes. Usually, one clue leads to the next clue, and all of a sudden you have your aha moment of clarity. If you do know and have been cultivating a specific vision that you are feeling coming into form right now, then this month is the time to put your unique stank on it. Okay, that means your vibe, your flavor, your unique perspective and distinct way of expressing your creative flair. This month, we give the linear left brain a breather to go take a nap while we light up and activate the imaginative right brain to dream up something needed and necessary. Deep breath. The energies really support us too. Eclipses bring necessary change, and Mercury retrograde in Gemini is rewiring your thinking and asking you to review your creative ideas right now. So be sure to go through the tools and notes that are included with the call that you would get if you join us on Tuesday. They have all the details and a space for you to take your notes and answer the questions for the month. Our story and the excerpts that I'm going to share on Tuesday are what I've been waiting the whole time to share. This whole cycle has been leading up to this. I'm so excited. This section of Kathy's book is why I chose it for our reclamation side of the work. It's the perfect guide. And she too will be joining us next month for July when we do Leo and the throat chakra. I can't wait. That month, the archetype is the visionary and the story is Sekhmet, which Kathy is an expert on and has some great stories for authentic self-expression and being creative with what you have. So I'm looking forward to have her be our storyteller next month. So before we get to the story, I just wanted to kind of put on the table the story keywords and the themes, right? Just in case you don't join us, I want you to know the basics that are possible and the energies that are supporting you this month between, let's say, June 12th and July 12th, okay? And then the energy really does shift. So this is a good time to do this work and prepare ourselves for what's coming next. Remember, everything is a response to the last thing in preparation for the next thing. So our goddess archetype has keywords. They are sacred space, quality nutrient, nourishment for mind, body, and soul, cycles and patterns, intuition, value of mystery. Some people don't like the mystery. We need to find the value. Home, sense of belonging, enoughness, Mother Earth, emotional maturity, empathy, compassion, self-reflective, kinship, and love. Goddess asks you to stand a little taller in the knowing that you are a worthy vessel for good in the world, and she asks nothing of you that you cannot give. Everything you need to create the life you want, including the relationships and finances, is already within you, and you are supported to embody it now. It's time to cultivate a new creative rhythm, one that leaves room for the ebb and flow of your own moods and the physical rhythms of your body and environment, but also leaves room for the universe to contribute along the way. Integrate the goddess archetype into your new story somehow. And remember that shadow goddess is to deny the beauty of nature, to suppress your own nature and repel love and support. We don't want to do that. We want to magnetize love and support. So that's our archetype helping us with the reclamation side of things. And our story is the Maidens of the Wells, which you're going to listen to next. These keywords are flow, feminine wisdom, nourishment, water, sanctuary, love, beauty, comfort, sustenance, right on time or timely, interconnected, wholeness, ask the right questions in order to get the right answers, healing, oneness, think with your feelings, senses, honor mystery. Okay, so that's twice. We need to honor mystery. Generosity of spirit, honor your nature and Mother Nature, dreams, sensuality, and transition. So Maiden of the Wells asks you to listen to your imagination more often and tune into nature for clues about what you need and how to magnetize it into your experience. This is the feminine knowing you are wired with that understands the value of following the moon's rhythms throughout life and making life sacred by cultivating it in everything that you are and everything that you do. Maidens of the Wells helps you reclaim your reverence for the body as a vessel of the spirit and honor all feelings as valid, relevant, and timely messengers of your soul. Deep breath. So I want you to consider, how can you feed and nurture your imagination so you can be sustained and protected by your own embodied wisdom? Okay, if we don't take time to process and integrate, our wisdom never becomes embodied. It just stays an idea or a concept. Right now, we want to feed the imagination so that it's constantly self-sustaining, let's say. So I hope you enjoy the story, and I look forward to connecting with you directly this week if you decide to join us. I will share some of this that night too, but we will go much deeper into what we are reclaiming. Plus, we have juicy divinations from the Tarot of the Spirit and the Goddess Knowledge cards. If for some reason the $25 contribution doesn't work for you at this time, just reach out to me directly and I will make sure that you're included if you want to be. Before I let you go, I would be remiss if I didn't invite you also to my free introduction to the new Soul Sister Circle the very next night, Wednesday, June 9th, an hour earlier, 8 p.m. Eastern, which is 7 p.m. Chicago, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific. Wolf is our theme, and we're going to explore how the animals and ancestors support our journey too. If you'd like to stay connected, be sure to add yourself to my emailing list. And thank you for being part of my extended community with Sista Shamon and everyone in her circle. And I thank you all for listening. Enjoy the story and let your imagination guide you this month. By the way, I hope you enjoy the moon video. I thought that was good for the Cancer month. It's also an eclipse, so enjoy that. So enjoy the story. Like I said, so glad to be connected with you all. Thank you for being part of my life and community. Reach out if you need to. Join us on Tuesday and Wednesday if you can. This is Kelly Beard of Karmic Tools signing off. Hello, everyone. This is Kelly Beard of karmictools.com, and this is our story time in the Venus Circle for the month of June, when our activation is happening in Cancer at the third eye chakra. This is such a powerful month, and this is a really powerful story. The follow-up is juicy too, and then what we're going to share the night we're together is going to lock it all in. It's going to be great. So I thank you all for being part of the circle and being with me. Now for story time. Our story for the month is Maidens of the Wells. In ancient times, Logres was a rich country, but it was turned into a wasteland when the kingdom lost the voices of the wells and the maidens that lived in them. These maidens would offer food and drink to wayfarers. A traveler had only to wish for food and seek out one of the wells, and a maiden would appear from out of the well with the food he liked best, a cup of gold in her hand. No one was excluded from this service. But the king broke this custom. Although it was his duty to guard the maidens, he raped one of them and took away her golden cup for his own service. After that, no maiden was seen issuing from the well, and the only service which wayfarers received was done invisibly. The king's vassals followed their king's actions and raped the other maidens, carrying off their golden cups, and so the service of the wells ceased. The land was laid waste. Trees lost their leaves. Meadows and plants withered, and the waters were dried up so that no man might find the court of the rich fisherman, he that once made the land bright with his treasures. Deep breath. When King Arthur instituted the Knights of the Round Table, they heard this story and were determined to make amends. But though they made vows to God, they could never hear a voice from the wells, nor could they find any of the maidens. One day the knights did find a group of ladies and knights in the forest. They captured a knight, and he told the following tale. All of us are the children born of the maidens, whom the king and his men raped. We are bound to travel together through this land until God wills that the court of joy be found, for that will make the land bright again. Deep breath. So Arthur's knights decided to seek for the court of the rich fisherman, who was a shapeshifter. Although many knights sought it and few found it, none asked the right questions when the hallows were processed about the hall of the rich fisherman. At the table, the Grail appeared by itself and served all who sat there, providing food in great variety. On the day that the court of the rich fisherman was found, and the correct answers received by the seeker, the waters flowed again. Fountains which had dried up ran into the meadows. Fields were green and fruitful, and the forest clothed in green leaf on the day that the court of joy was found. Deep breath. Woo! When you disrespect the feminine, you disrespect the land. Wasteland and drought is what follows, right? So this is from Chapter 3, Recovering a Feminine Standpoint, a teaching story. The rape of feminine spirit. Like the maidens of the wells, the voices of women's wisdom have been raped away by centuries of masculine domination and rationalism. We thought we could live without the feeling and intuitive, imaginative and symbolic voices of feminine spirit. But like Logres in this tale, Western culture has become a materialistic wasteland without the healing presence of the waters of the wells of feminine wisdom. Deep breath. In the last 40 years, we have experienced the return of feminine spirit in all her many forms. Despite the backlash against the women's movement and the latest war against women in the U.S., women are standing up for financial equality with men and shattering glass ceilings. Women in business and politics are stepping forward with innovative ideas that come out of their feminine experience, their feminine brain, and their feminine imagination. And those companies who have women CEOs and women in higher management are reaping the financial rewards of their innovative style. Women's voices are speaking out and being heard, asking the right questions and giving the smart answers. As women rediscover our unique powers of love, interconnection, vision and healing, purpose and wisdom, we invariably give our gifts to the people and the world that we love. Like the maidens of the wells, women give freely of our gifts to all who ask. This is our special magic. The more we give, the more we have to give. To understand the heroine's journey in the 21st century, we have to understand that besides relearning our mother tongue of the imagination, women need to reclaim our unique feminine standpoint and voice. How perfect is this for this month? For long centuries, a woman's sense of herself has been undermined by social and religious authorities. When we look to our sisters in the East, we are justly outraged by their plight in countries like Afghanistan and the brothels of Thailand. And yet it was only 300 years ago that women in the West were burnt at the stake for being witches and seductresses, healers, or merely old. And it has only been in the last 100 years that Western societies have given women the right to vote. Women are finally free, and yet what woman feels free from all the old prejudices and fears that seem to be programmed into our genetic code after thousands of years of repression? Deep breath. Our sisters in Afghanistan have had to deal with the Taliban, and women in the West have had to deal with our own inner Taliban. All those nasty voices that judge us, criticize us, and put down our self-confidence, that create fear, depression, and anxiety, and that cover up our truest and best selves. Okay, Venus is here to correct that. We know that the patriarchal demands on women have twisted our feminine natures to conform to masculine standards of behavior and belief. These inner terrorists are hard to point fingers at because they are invisible tormentors. These inner suicide bombers would rather see us dead than free of their old lies and beliefs. Deep breath. This is reclamation time. We've already done the clearing. It is by experiencing how we are not really free and equal to men in the political arena, in the business world, and in our personal relationships that women come into our true freedom. No matter how successful a woman is, which is really a measure of how well she has acclimated herself to the masculine hierarchy, she still has to confront these negative voices both within herself and also in her environment. For often men still do not understand or validate her standpoint. That is why we must reclaim our truly feminine standpoint and know it for what it is. Perhaps then men will stop expecting us to be, think, and act like them, and finally take it upon themselves to understand us in our true feminine form. Deep breath. Okay, y'all. My intention was to stop right there. 10 minutes, story time, little explanation, and we'll get to our call. But this next little excerpt just is begging to be part of it. So we're going to go through it together on this recording just so we have a recording of it to go back to and play with because it's so juicy. Understanding feminine and masculine energies. More often than not, the concepts of feminine and masculine lead to general statements, confusion, conflict, and sometimes argument and anger. These terms describe two complementary forces in the universe that are intangible archetypes. It's been suggested that the best course might be to get rid of gender stereotypes altogether and just agree that all attitudes and behaviors belong to both sexes. Carl Jung pointed out that each of us has a contrasexual psychic element operating within us. Psychologically as well as biologically, maleness contains recessive feminine traits, and femaleness contains masculine traits. We could just get rid of our concepts of masculine and feminine and say everyone is the same, which is an easy way out of a difficult situation. But being equal does not mean that we are the same. Deep breath. Get the memo. Women are equal to men under the law, but we must still demand that the feminine perspective on life is equal to that of the masculine. Our modern rationality so often is willing and eager to dismiss questions that disrupt our view of reality. We have become lazy thinkers. What we are having trouble with are the stereotypes of gender. not the reality behind them. That still remains a mystery, and its deepest reality always will remain one. But we can dismantle our stereotypes and allow new images to arise from the depths of life. Stereotypes are merely the outer husks of an archetypal reality, a shell or image that has lost its power to express that reality in life. These husks are what need to be discarded, so we can begin to discover where the life that was once theirs has been reborn. We shed these skins over and over. We are living in a time of transition and transformation, and we must be willing to explore the possibilities of a renewed understanding of these two different yet complementary ways of being in and experiencing the world. Why do we want to neglect the most lovely mystery of our differing sexuality, our dual nature as human beings, and its reflection in the inner and outer worlds? Why do we do that? Why devalue our bodily differences when we can explore the mysteries of our bodies as symbolic of the mysteries of the basic principles and dynamics present in ourselves and our world? Why not imagine that the chaos in our understanding and of the times we live in is the prima materia of the new consciousness, the forerunner of a new evolution in spiritual understanding, the dissolving and transformation and rebirth of the masculine and feminine manifestations of spirit, and their eventual reunion? Many people are already engaged in this work as we work to heal the wounds in our lives and in our society. The alchemists found that the philosopher's stone, the divine essence within each person, was born of the chaos of the prima materia. This prima materia had to be distilled and burnt to ashes and separated and worked until it yielded up two essences, which were symbolic of the king and the queen, Sol and Luna, the masculine and the feminine, Yang and Yin. It was only after the separation and discrimination of the elements that the new union was possible. This was achieved in the Hieros Gamos, or the sacred marriage, which produced the philosopher's stone, or in Jung's terminology, the self. Deep breath. The reality behind these images renews itself through new images. The worn out images and beliefs of past ages can be left behind if they are no longer life-enhancing, for new images will arise that will integrate the new truths that are being born. Deep breath. This is why this was so important to share this month, because it's our third eye, and we're imagining and adding that unique essence and flavor that is our own as individuals to whatever it is we're bringing into form by December of 2021. Basically, we have 6 months to go. Being in a state of transition, the concepts of masculine and feminine can be imagined in many ways. The fact that all cultures make the distinction between maleness and femaleness indicates the given nature of this polarity in the collective psyche. Therefore, the opposition and complementary natures of the masculine and feminine archetypes are the underlying symbols of our experience of duality. The ancient Chinese speak of this polarity as the cosmic principles of yin and yang, and all other polarities have been connected to this sexual polarity: solar and lunar, light and dark, initiative and receptiveness, heaven and earth. These polarities are not fixed and static, but interweave in various proportions throughout all of creation. Deep breath. In our Western tradition, the masculine principle has come to be associated with left brain activity, as well as solar symbolism and consciousness. It represents spirit, logos, creativity, the striving for individual consciousness, discrimination, separateness, discipline, and order. It is represented by the image of the great solar hero who slays the dragon and triumphs over the darkness. Deep breath. This is another reason this is kind of good preparation for what we're going to share in the circle next week. The feminine principle, represented by right brain activity, is usually associated with the moon and lunar consciousness. This principle has been devalued in Western culture, and so we know less about it. It is more unconscious for us. It symbolizes actualization and manifestation, the senses and sensuality, body and soul, creative play and imagination, and the realm of dreams and fantasies. Lunar consciousness is much more open to the realms of the magical, mystical, and psychic dimensions of life, to the intangible, intuitive, feeling side of life. It is these elements of our psyches which we are rediscovering and which will eventually birth a new collective consciousness. Ashe. On the whole, women know more about solar consciousness than men do about lunar consciousness because women have had to adapt to a masculine culture, while men still distrust and diminish feminine ways of knowing. Carl Jung defines solar consciousness as the ego consciousness of modern humanity, while lunar consciousness gives rise to the more feminine workings of the unconscious. Jung also felt that creativity, new births, new stories, and new possibilities emerge from this feminine realm. A Cartesian mechanistic worldview has been the paradigm of Western science since the 17th century and the Age of Enlightenment, and it has trained us in a separatist masculine consciousness, which ignores the emotional, mental, and spiritual implications of our materialistic culture. It is the more feminine, holistic worldview of the new physicists, which experiences a holographic universe, a universe which is seen as a dynamic web of interrelated events, and which postulates the interconnectivity of all things. Deep breath. Some feminist writers assert that since most of the masculine qualities once belonged to the great goddess of antiquity, they should be considered part of the feminine, or at least not only masculine. The Celtic goddess of war, the Morrigan, is a dark, warlike aspect of the Great Mother, such as Kali in India. Today we think of war as something more closely related to masculine occupations, although women fought and died as soldiers in both Iraqi wars. Yet the ancient Celts saw war as a feminine preoccupation. There has been a change in consciousness since those days, and the newer differentiations have settled into the collective unconscious. To reject all differentiation, or to consolidate all qualities under the umbrella of one concept, can lead to the continued domination of the dominant viewpoint, i.e., the masculine viewpoint. It is feminine spirit and its consciousness of images, rhythms, play, body, mystery, soul, and being, which has been devalued by our Western civilization. To recover a feminine standpoint, we have to find out what it is, learn about it, experience it, and live it. When these aspects of life are renewed and reverenced, understood, and made available for the purposes of life, we will have a conscious feminine standpoint. Then we will live the image of the woman clothed with the sun, a feminine consciousness which can balance a new masculine consciousness. Our old masculine consciousness needs renewal because for too long it has repressed and used feminine consciousness for its own purposes instead of honoring it as an equal. A new relationship of equality between these two primeval forces, working through men and women, can help us all heal the earth, our relationships, and our society. And so it is. Thank you, Kathy. That is excellent priming the pump for what we're going to talk about on Tuesday night. So I hope you enjoyed the story. I appreciate you hanging in there for an extra 10 minutes. I hope it was inspiring and sparked something. All right, everyone. This is Kelly Beard of Karmic Tools signing off.